everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Kiana, where we keep everything fun, interesting, and 100% me. So today, 2026 started off with a bang. A lot of people are concerned and or celebrating. The United States went into Venezuela and snatched the president and his wife and brought him out of the country into the United States to what they say to stand trial. So I saw two camps going on. One camp is, we are happy about this and this is great. Now we have freedom, we have everything that we've dreamed of. Now our country is going again. Venezuela is going to move forward. Another camp is saying, hey, this is not a win. Remember Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Haiti. This is not a good thing. And you might be dancing right now, but you'll be very sorry later. Freedom is not free. Now, we all know history, and we all know that there's a playbook when it comes to gathering resources, that, this is what they're going to do. This is what and they don't change the way they do things. So a lot of people were saying, look, you celebrating this is not a good look, or not a good idea, actually. You celebrating this is not going to help you. As a matter of fact, it's going to have a lot of problems in the long run. So anyway, here are some concepts, and let us look at what people are thinking on ground.
For all you poor Venezuelans celebrating that United States got your dictator out of the way, this is Iraq today. They also celebrated when United States got Saddam Hussein out of the way. They paraded on the streets, they had their flags. This is Iraq today, after 10 plus years of freedom and democracy. This is Libya. They also celebrated on the streets after Gaddafi got street justice. And I'm pretty sure some of you Venezuelans will probably want to do the same thing to Gaddafi, to Maduro. Gaddafi was building infrastructure, was trying to unite Africa under one currency. They had free healthcare. Look at Libya today, after 10 plus years of United States freedom and democracy. You really think United States is going into your country to build libraries and better schools and to make your country prosperous? Take a look at what's happening in Laos. The United States cut funding for people to go in there and sweep the mines and the bombs that the United States left behind. Look at Libya, look at Iraq, look at Afghanistan. You really think the United States, after 10 plus years of freedom and democracy, is going to make your country more prosperous and your people is going to benefit? They're building a ballroom. Their own United States infrastructure, it's crumbling. Homeless is through the roof. We don't have health care, United States. You really think these people are going to make your poor country more prosperous? They're building a ballroom. And this is the mess that they leave behind in other poor nations.
So the United States of America committed war crimes today by illegally entering a foreign nation and kidnapping a foreign ruler. I'm sure many of you have seen that overnight the Trump administration has bombed and attacked Caracas, the capital city of Venezuela, and has captured Maduro and brought him to New York City. I've seen a slew of Venezuelans praising this and happy that it has happened because rightfully so, Maduro over the past 12 years has been a horrible dictator. Under him, crime, homelessness, food insecurity, all those things have risen exponentially. But the USA just can't enter a foreign country because it wants to. The USA and the president can't just say we're going to war because it wants to. This was not approved by Congress.
But we're buying oil from Venezuela. When I left, Venezuela was ready to collapse. We would have taken it over. We would have gotten all that oil. It would have been right next door. But now we're buying oil from Venezuela, so we're making a dictator very rich. Can you believe this? Nobody can believe it.
And so we have to ask ourselves, what are the reasons that Donald Trump is doing this currently while his approval ratings are in the toilet and while he is the center of one of the biggest pedophilia and sex traffic rings in the world, why he would distract us once again by going into Venezuela, a foreign nation, attacking it and kidnapping its ruler.
Yeah, what was that?
Getting land, oil rights, whatever we had, they took it away because we had a president that maybe wasn't watching. But they're not going to do that. We want it back. They took our oil rights. We had a lot of oil there. As you know, they threw our companies out. and we want it back.
America and its regime toppling is a form of neo-colonization that is the same rinse, wash, repeat that America has been doing for decades, if not a century. When we look at other countries like Iran, Guatemala, Chile, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Cambodia, Libya, just to name a few, we understand that in these regions, America goes in, they destabilize, they take a ruler out, they put in someone they want, and it's usually for access to the region, access to commodities, access to goods like oil. And in this case, it's definitely oil. And
Place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
And for all of you saying it's not oil, the president has been talking about Venezuela's oil production and us buying from them for months now, if not years. And if it's not about oil, why is he saying that we now, America, is going to run Venezuela and American U.S. oil companies are going to fix the infrastructure in Venezuela before they can turn it over to someone that works well with the United States of America? These things are not things that can be taken lightly. The United States of America going into yet another foreign country, toppling its government, causing destabilization, bombing them, causing casualties to civilians and damage to infrastructure, all in the name of democracy to take over commodities and put someone in more favorable to America. Makes your day of the year, and it feels like we've already been through another term of Trump.
You know, I took some time to reflect and think, and I really do think we need to do a better job at centering the voice of Venezuelans. Let's take a look at what actual Venezuelans on the ground have reported.
Sentirse asustado como todo amaneció el venezolano como tal el día de hoy y en la madrugada que muchas familias no pudieron dormir como tal. La experiencia, yo que he estado en la calle, me vengo regresando de Maracay hasta la capital, todo ha estado trancado, todo ha estado muy mal.
Ellos son los que imponen la ley, pues. Son los policías del mundo. Policías asesinos, porque son asesinos. Eso no son personas normales.
Si se lo llevaron, opino que no debería haber sido así, pues, ¿verdad? Porque, como se dice, va a crear un conflicto peor que lo que está ahorita. Y más que con ese bombardeo y eso, bueno, hay que salir como dijeron, que salieran todos a la calle, a defender a la patria, a defenderlos a todos.
Please understand that the people of Venezuela are not a monolith. Just like here in America, there are right-wing Venezuelans who are pro-regime change and pro-privatization of nationalized resources. And when you're telling me to center the voice of people who think unaliving 50 people in an airstrike to kidnap a head of state is acceptable, when you're telling me to listen to the people celebrating in Chile or Miami, or people that look like this, not the actual people that are affected by a privatization of Venezuela's vast resources, I would say that you're probably centering the wrong voices and listening to the wrong people.
The people of Venezuela have every right to celebrate that their dictator president got snatched up and he's no longer there. You have every right to celebrate. But I need to leave you with this. This is you guys celebrating after the president dictator got snatched up. You know what's make this eerily similar to another situation that happened 20-some years before? It was when Saddam Hussein got executed and everybody started celebrating. Everybody in Iraq started celebrating. And you know what happened in Iraq? Their country ended up 15 million times worse than it was under Saddam Hussein's rule. Not saying that Saddam Hussein was a great leader or anything like that. I'm saying because the United States invaded and didn't mind their own damn business, they literally made that country, Iraq, 15 million times worse. Because we just got to have our hands in everything. And we really only went there for oil. We sat here and we act like we cared about the people in Iraq. We really just wanted their oil. We blanketed, calling it the war, or the war on terrorism. It wasn't no damn war on terrorism. They just wanted your damn oil. Bush was greedy. That's what happened. And now everyone in Iraq has been screwed for the past 25 years. And I predict the same thing is going to happen to the people in Venezuela. It's unfortunate. Again, they have every single right to celebrate and be happy because their leader was a piece of crap. But because the United States just gotta have their hand in everything and they want to blanket it as, oh, we're just helping the people in Venezuela. History is repeating itself. The people in Venezuela just don't know it yet. And American citizens are just trying to warn y'all. We've seen this happen before. It's unfortunate.
By now, you know that Trump has struck Venezuela and kidnapped their president. The vice president said the president offered multiple off-ramps, but was very clear throughout this process. The drug trafficking, that's the excuse, and the stolen oil, that's the real reason, must be returned to the United States. Watch this.
Venezuela has the largest reserves of oil in the world. Venezuela that has a rich, talk about rich natural energy resources.
Massive oil reserve. They have gold. They have rare earth.
Oil, gold, and minerals.
And I am sure there are U.S. companies that would like to do business there.
Venezuela for the American oil companies will be a field day.
It was always about resources and control. It was never about democracy and liberty. I want you to understand that. This is not new to America. Look at Libya, look at Haiti, look at Iraq, look at every country that we have overthrown a dictator or a president of over the last 30, 40 years. Panama, this ain't new to America, it's true to America. The problem is that the majority of us, or too many of us, are delusional about America and its quest for democracy. They limiting your rights every day. You think they give a damn about somebody else's? It's about rich people and rich people's money, always. And when you ain't rich, you need to look to your left and your right and find your brother and your sister in this fight, because it ain't them. As always, do good, seek justice, keep pushing.
So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so.
President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. Oh, so we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. But no, we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground. And that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela and people from outside of Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela. And it goes also to the United States of America in the form of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country.
What Trump did to Venezuela is the same thing Woodrow Wilson did to Haiti in 1915. I'm seeing a lot of Venezuelans celebrating, and I think that you should think before you get to throwing up wine and feasting. Because what they did in Haiti was set up a puppet government, slowly extract the resources and the people for cheap labor, and then pretend as if this country is running itself, knowing damn well the country is not running itself. Every single government official that you guys have in office is bought out and is literally a puppet. Then fast forward to now, why do y'all think that Haiti's in the state that it's in now? Haiti is rich with iridium. Venezuela is rich with oil. Trump just now said he's going to implant a government. What do you think comes next? Please take a second. While you're celebrating, that's fine, because he was a horrible man. Maduro was not a good man. We get that. But please take a second to think, is Trump better? Is he better? Because I'm not sure if people aren't paying attention, but Marco Rubio was pledging to do the very same thing to Haiti. Now. So we're about to let history repeat itself because people are too comfortable on their goddamn phones.
I'm a war veteran, and I want to explain to the younger generation what's happening in Venezuela and how it relates to what was happening when I was growing up in high school. You see, George Bush and Donald Rumsfeld, they actually claimed that Iraq had weapons of mass destruction and that Afghanistan had the exact same thing, and that it was crucial for us to invade both countries, Afghanistan and Iraq, Operation Enduring Freedom and then also Operation Iraqi Freedom, to preserve humanity and also prevent Saddam Hussein and the Taliban from obtaining weapons of mass destruction. We'll come to find out that actually wasn't the case. We were lied to. Many soldiers like myself joined because we were given that propaganda. And now I understand that in the modern day, you have Chat GPT, you have Google with this advanced algorithm, you have YouTube videos out there with AI stuff, but some of the information that you're talking about, it was borderline illegal to put it out there. In fact, when the war first happened, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, I mean, you name it, the Wall Street Journal, I mean, the freaking New York Times, you name it. They were all calling people unpatriotic. They were calling people Taliban sympathizers. You know, even when I was coming up doing basic training, I remember it was the second week of basic training, and we were having a conversation, me and some of the guys in basic, and I was talking about how some of the guys were using some slurs towards some of the Muslims. Like, oh, I can't wait to take out, you know, certain insert slur. And I was like, hey guys, you know, maybe we should show these guys a little bit of respect. I think that's a part of the problem. We're not respecting each other. And they called me a Taliban sympathizer and reported me to the freaking first sergeant, who then turned around and says, yes, respect these people because we're trying to win hearts and minds. So that lets you know how long I was in for. Hearts and minds. How long have you heard that? How long was that ago? But basically, fast forward, what you're hearing in terms of propaganda, it's already been done before. It was done during my generation. And the wars were also a distraction then. It was also a way of siphoning money and resources from other countries. You know, if, you know, for the younger people, if you ever played this game called Helldivers 2 or the first Helldivers, it's a parody of Stormtroopers. It's a parody of Starship Troopers. It's a parody of you being a bad guy, a part of an empire that's actually a part of a colonizing force or an invading force. And the whole time your government is putting out propaganda. And so if you remember the Helldivers 2 game, when they were invading the Tyranid Empire for element 710, well, if you spell that backwards and flip it up, it's oil. That was a parody of us during Iraq and Afghanistan. And it was fascinating to see right-wing commentators try to lie and says, oh, Helldivers 2 is not actually woke. It's actually a right-wing think piece. It's an indictment of the freaking left. And it's like, are you sure? Did you play the game? Because if you watch some of the propaganda, it was clearly pointed. Because again, I served. You know, I actually went to, you know, other countries to go fight for this country. That's what I was told. But I want you to understand the propaganda that you're seeing right now. And the reason why it seems like so many of people from my generation, you know, people in their mid 30s, late 30s, 40s, 50s, why it seems like they are so eager to be so bloodthirsty. Well, they are the exact same people that caused the Iraq and Afghanistan wars to happen in the first place. Right. If you go back and look at some of the polls there from the from ABC News, Fox News, CNN, look at some of the polls. Look at some of the polls, and you will notice this pattern. Whereas these polls, right, they will show that most people in the country actually wanted these wars. Most people in the country actually wanted these conflicts. Most people in the country actually called for these conflicts. And my new adopted buddy Seamus wanted to be in the video so bad because he was agreeing with me. But what that showed is that most people, even though they act innocent now, even though they'll say I'm anti-war and I voted for this guy, I voted for insert this guy or insert that guy because they're anti-war. As much as you hear that, don't you let them fool you. I come from the same generation. They're lying to you. They voted for that nonsense and you don't want it because guess what? You're not only paying for two wars that you likely were just a kid observing. A lot of you are watching this video, you were kids or you weren't even born when this was going down. And you're paying for it right now in your taxes. You're still paying taxes on those two conflicts in Iraq and freaking Afghanistan. And the same people who voted for those wars, who served in those conflicts, they are now pretending like this has no parallels. I just want you to understand that's what you're dealing with right now as young people. The modern media that you consume, from Helldivers to Avatar to, you know, the not the last, well, actually the freaking Last Airbender, or you look at the Avatar with the big blue aliens. A lot of your media reflects the mistakes that we made. So what I'm telling you as the young generation is, don't support this bullshit. Don't support war. See, just like with freaking Ukraine, right? They told you, oh, we're just giving them old weapons and we're not actually spending a whole lot of money. And that was the exact same lie we were being told during Iraq and freaking Afghanistan. And in fact, at one point that was true. At one point we weren't spending money on that war because we weren't protecting our actual troops. We were spending more money on extracting oil from freaking Iraq and freaking Afghanistan than actually protecting our troops. It was a National Guard unit out of South Carolina, out of Rock Hill, South Carolina, an MP unit out of South Carolina, National Guard unit, who refused to go on patrols until we got armored vehicles, and some better body armor, because we were still using armored vehicles from the freaking Vietnam era. So it was a National Guard unit out of South Carolina who says, we're not going to go on freaking patrol until you give us the actual equipment to do this actual job. So the money wasn't being spent on us. It was being spent on extracting opium from Afghanistan and oil from damn Iraq. That's what you're witnessing right now. And all of your video games that you're playing, all your movies, all your superheroes, all the popular media that you're consuming, it is like that for a reason, because it's coming from people who were in my generation. Ryan Coogler, Jordan Peele, you name it. They are closer to my age group. They are putting out certain content because that's what we saw. A lot of you don't understand the concept, especially the younger folks. You don't get the concept of you had to be there. You don't understand the concept of me telling you that CNN caused people to lose their jobs if they even question the freaking Iraq war. You don't get that. You don't get that pressure unless you were there. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. I know some of this message is going to be hard to convey because you weren't there. But you're here now. You don't have to make the same mistakes. Go against this bullshit that we're doing in Venezuela. This man that we got in office talking about going to war with freaking Mexico, freaking other countries, freaking South America. He's talking about doing a whole bunch of nonsense right now. Okay? Now is if you care about your country and if you don't want to be paying taxes, your children, your children's children. Listen, some of you won't even have children, but the few of you who will, your children's children will be paying this debt. Do you think it's going to be a cheap conflict? They tell you every time, oh, it's just a little bit of money. They were telling you that damn lie during the freaking Ukraine and Russia conflict. The whole time you're being gaslit to hell. You're being told, oh, we're just sending old weapons. They were giving money to the freaking Ukrainian police. They were giving money, I'm going to say it again, to the freaking Ukrainian police. They were giving money to freaking Ukrainian business owners. Meanwhile, American business owners are going under. Going under. They do this shit every 5 to 6 years, man. And not every time is it a big war where a leader gets captured or there's some huge coup. It starts in increments. See, we don't operate off a two-party system. We have a uniparty system. See, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing in freaking Venezuela and Haiti, some of that was not the freaking Republicans. Some of that stuff in freaking Venezuela was actually Obama. A lot of that stuff in Haiti that you're seeing right now, that was Clinton. We know the Republicans, what they are. But we also know who their freaking enablers are too. So I'm putting this video out there so that you in the younger generation can get a true perspective of the bullshit you're seeing from someone who fought in combat. Don't believe the bullshit. Resist. You don't want your children's children paying this damn debt for us going to war for a damn oil company.
To this day. That's why they destroy Venezuela. So many of you stupid people out there, you hate the Venezuelans because you think there are too many Venezuelans out in front of the Home Depot as you drive through the Home Depot. That aggravates you. To see people standing in front of the Home Depot, you go crazy. You elected Donald Trump because you can't stand the Venezuelans. Well, if you really don't want to see Venezuelans in your neighborhood, why don't you tell America to stop destroying Venezuela? Because that's why they're here. America destroyed Venezuela. All because Venezuela was trying to sell oil to somebody who wasn't America. And now because of that, America wiped out Venezuela because Venezuela got uppity. Venezuela dared to challenge America and try to sell their oil to countries that could profit them the most, that could be the most benefit to them financially. Venezuela got destroyed over there. Wiped out their president, wiped out their government, did the same thing to Haiti. And then now when the Haitians and the Venezuelans are in your neighborhood, you get angry at the Venezuelans. Well, why don't you think a Venezuelan wants to come to Chicago and freeze to death? A Venezuelan would much rather live in Venezuela, where there's palm trees and a beautiful climate and oceans and fruit on the trees. You think he wants to starve and freeze in Chicago? He doesn't want to be in America either. He doesn't want to be here in New York. He wants to be in his own home, like any other man would rather stay in his own land. But he can't because of the perpetual hatred that our oppressor has for the Hispanics. They destroy Venezuela, destroy Mexico, and they get angry at the people running from a sinking ship. Why don't you stop destroying the paradises of this world? People will stay there. People won't come to your city. They'll pick mangoes off of a tree in paradise if you could stop destroying their economy. But your hatred is too severe. Your hatred is just terrible.
Also, I wanted to add that there's a difference between the Venezuelans back in the old country and the Venezuelans that are in diaspora. What I did notice is that a lot of Venezuelans in diaspora, like in Chile, Spain, Brazil, United States, they're all celebrating. They're all happy. They're all saying, okay, maybe our leader that we just are dreaded is gone. But the Venezuelans back in the old country, back in Venezuela themselves, they are very, very different in opinion, and they are not happy about this. And even if they took the president, they said that was not the United States call, and they are really upset about this, and they're not happy about this at all. They did not ask for this. Yeah, this is very, very interesting, guys. Anyways, until next video, take care.